you get down with that genie. Open up the bottle, and out comes McTockett with some elite hockey knowledge. Pat Micheletti at PatMick2626. He's Minnesota hockey immortality, for he is on the mural at Mariucci, and he joins us now. Beloved Tockett, how are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you? It's great to hear your voice. Likewise.
Are they ever going to draw the Frozen Four teams in the brackets? I mean, it's amazing. I know the Big Ten tournament is not the begin all, end all, begin all, but that thing's done and stuff. But like, it's got NCAA tournament beginning today for hoops, and I know we had the bracket draw recently and stuff. But I would imagine that's why they wait a little bit. Am I wrong?
Well, you're not wrong. The conference tournaments are this weekend, and the selections will be Sunday. But get this, the regionals are the following week. Right. Then they take 2 weeks off for the Frozen Four because of the NCAA basketball tournament.
Right.
Makes no sense to me because it's two different crowds. The difference, PA. I don't have to tell you. But that's what we live with.
So your alma mater, and Pat Micheletti is one of the great players in the history of Golden Gophers hockey, for he's on the mural at PatMick2626. Those in the know tell me, or were disappointed in the Gophers' performance in the Big Ten championship game, and not saying mail it in because I don't know.
Semifinals.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, but I don't know enough about the situation to be like content to get to the NCAA tournament, be like a 7, 8, 9 overall, a 3 seed in whatever region. And do you see it that way, that they could have done a better job in that semifinal game? Tockett?
Michigan came out. Michigan is to me one of the most talented teams in the country again this year. Mm-hmm. Michigan stumbled throughout the year for whatever reason. They have a problem discipline-wise. They take a lot of penalties and all of that sort of thing. But talent-wise, they are as good as there is in the country. And they didn't get themselves in trouble. They controlled the game, and it was hard for Minnesota to get any traction. And, that to me was the difference in the game. Now, 3 weeks ago, Minnesota played them at home and dominated them. So, it's how you come out of the gate and gain that momentum, and Michigan did that night, and they won the game.
How so just overall with now a week to chill, like a bye built in before this, how do you feel about the alma mater? How do you feel about Sky Uma into the NCAA tournament, given they're going to be drawing the bracket this weekend?
Well, to me, they're a different team than they were a year ago. You put Nyes and Cooley and Snuggerud out, there's a chance they're going to score 1, maybe 2 goals, every time they get on the ice. They don't have that type of team this year where they have a go-to line that is going to, have the potential to score. They're more of a depth team. They are a grinded-out team. They don't have the dynamic defensemen on the back end. So they play a different game than they did a year ago, in my opinion. But it's a roster that can win. So I'm confident in their ability to get back to the Frozen Four.
Is it in any way wide open in college hockey this year? I mean, I know you have the Bostons,
Yep.
BC and BU and BC 1 and 2, Quinnipiac's up there and everything. But is it wide open, or is there a singular team that everybody in the college hockey world knows is of dominance?
Well, I think Boston College is playing the best of anybody in the country right now, and they're loaded with number 1 draft picks. They're an awfully young team, which gives me a little pause when you're playing at the end of the year like this. But to me, and I've talked to a lot of coaches about this, there literally are 10 to 12 teams that I think could win the national title this year. No one other than Boston College, to me, has really been consistent week in, week out. You know what you're dealing with. And, so that to me has been the difference. Now, you've got a team like Wisconsin who was beat in the first round of the playoffs, and no one ever saw that coming, right? They're number 2, number 3 in the country all year. They get beat by Ohio State. They're off for 3 weeks, which is never good. But they're another team as good as anybody in the country. And so, like I said, I think there's a plethora of teams that have the ability to win it this year.
Mick Tocchet, the Wild last night, a lot of puck luck, and that's hockey for the LA Kings. Ain't no doubt about that. Wild also are they're not obligated to get shut out. I mean, they can score too, but it's the Vegas Golden Knights have 2 games in hand, still chasing 3 points. It's an absolute grinder. No Eriksson Ek, Brodin out, maybe out for a little while. What a grind. Holy cow, the rise and the fall and the rise and the fall. What'd you think about last night?
Well, to see that there's still only 3 points out blows me away. You and I talked a month ago, and I didn't think there was a chance. But you know what? They're hanging around now. They lose 1-0, lose 6-0. It doesn't matter. You don't get the 2 points. So, you throw that one away. But, their margin is very thin. And when you lose your top guys, I look at this year, PA, as a year of just, how do I want to say, the inconsistencies with injuries, inconsistencies with top guys playing at their best, inconsistencies with the slumps that certain guys have had this year. And it just, there's never, you see the good teams and the teams that make the playoffs and, that they just stay on a level and not have so many ups and downs like Minnesota has had this year.
Right.
But I give them credit.
Yeah.
You know what? They're working hard. They're doing it with a lot of guys that, quite frankly, we didn't expect to see this year. So, they're going to fight, and they look at it as they're 3 points out. They still have a chance, and they're going to still keep grinding. And
Coach Hynes, John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, joins 9 to noon about 35 minutes from now. And with the questions and the set list for him basically crafted, I was trying to think of a way to put something. I was thinking of a way to put something together, and I'm sure I've hit on it with him before because it's been a common thread for the Wild this season, and you just touched on it. It's the players in and the players out, and Mermis here and Brodin there, and Lucchini here, and Foligno and or Hartman there, and it's just so ever changing. It's when you how would you explain, Pat, from as much as you've seen at a high level, when you're reliant on backups and or secondary pieces to have their minutes doubled and sometimes tripled on a week-by-week, month-by-month basis. I mean, it goes one of two ways. Rarely will, there be a hockey-related epiphany take place and wow, never knew he could do that. Holy cow, he's now a third-line centerman. It just generally doesn't pop up like that, but sometimes it does. On the other side, players start getting exposed and they start getting picked on when they have to play too much. You know what I mean?
Well, and you look at it from the opponent that you're playing. They see your roster. They know who's out. And their conversation is the locker room is, hey, this team's got 5 guys up from the American Hockey League. We've got to expose them every time. And that's difficult for a guy coming up and playing and then having to know that this guy is, this team is recognizes what our roster is, and they're gonna bring it tonight because they don't want to lose 2 points. They don't look at it as a layup, but they know that if that they got to bring it, and they know what they're facing. And that the example last night of LA, I think they recognize now they got some breaks. That's part of athletics, but they knew that there was no Brodin in the lineup and Ek in the lineup last night, so they're going to exploit the rest of the roster that Minnesota has on the ice, and they did that.
And it lastly, when you get blown out like that, no matter if it's puck luck or just somebody going Gretzky on it with every single goal, at this stage of the season, you're on the grind and your team is hurt. And then, you start hitting pucks 1,000 miles per hour into the glass because you're frustrated. Okay, that's happened.
Right.
And then, your HOF goaltender with a mercy pull, Hynes is taking him out. Why have him see anymore? And then he's heading down the tunnel and he breaks his stick, and then clearly there's tension with them right now. I'd be careful Saturday against St. Louis. I mean, a team also on the grind,
Yeah, for sure. And, and what Minnesota has done, and again, I give them credit, they'll forget this game. They went into Colorado, took them to overtime.
Yep.
They played, the same with the Blues. They lost in a shootout. Their record is what it is. The second half of the season here since the All-Star break, and so they have to keep those good thoughts in their heads and look at this as a throwaway. Unfortunately, they put themselves in a position where they need to win every game, and that's why. When we were talking a month ago, we talked about how hard it is to climb teams and just get back to even. They're 3 points out. They need help from other teams. Vegas is at home tonight against the Kraken, and they need Vegas to lose. And so listen, they will put this behind them, and they will go out and try to win their next game.
Lastly, you have any March Madness takes? Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's somebody sneaky to get into the 16 or the 8.
Well, I like Auburn a lot. I like
too.
the Broom kid. I think he's a baller.
Yeah.
I watched Houston quite a bit, and their depth is really, really good. I like Houston. I like Tennessee, but Tennessee can play like the best team in the country one night, and then you look at them another night and you say, who is this team? So if they catch it, they have a chance to make it also.
I watched 35 minutes of Auburn last week and recognized quickly they can shoot threes and they're balanced with offense and defense.
I always love that one.
So thus watching maybe a half and a half makes me an elite college basketball mind. And I've taken Auburn in these little pools that I'm playing, like you, these little bracket bits. I think I have them winning it in I'm in 5. I have them winning it in 2.
I'm in 5 also.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
I have them winning it in 2 or 3. I haven't watched UConn play, and UConn's the one of all ones ever to won. Likewise for Purdue.
Yeah, the Newton kid is the real deal.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I like. Do you have any spotties in the first round in case KG or Aragoni or somebody are listening?
Well, I think Tom Izzo's team is going to lose the first game starting at 11:15. I like Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. I haven't been on Michigan State all year, and so I like Mississippi State.
Get this, Alec Lewis, YA, who covers the Vikings for The Athletic. You know who it is, right?
Wonderful job he does. Yes.
YA is best friends with the head coach of the Samford basketball team. All right, the one that's going to...
Yeah, everyone likes them.
Well, yeah, I mean, did you like him at 7.5 or 4.5 after the world knew their leading scorer, Kansas's leading scorer, would be out for the tournament? But nevertheless,
right.
So
right. And the big guys hurting a little bit too.
Monday, YA stops by Twin Cities TCOPC, and he's telling me off the microphone about his friendship with this coach and some players on the team and everything, and I'm just being man, I just wish we were able to do this and think about this and push these buttons and consider these money lines, but we're not. But nevertheless, this Samford team, one of I think 4 Alabama teams in the tournament, this team ain't no joke, man, with or without that leading scorer. So it bears following.
We'll be watching that one closely.
Appreciate you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Love you. Take care. Bye.
Right. Love you. Pat Micheletti at Pat Mick 2626 with some hockey conversation. News du Nord, an update on everything that transpires in the world of sporting activity is around the corner. NCAA tournament about an hour from now, and you're listening to 9 to Noon.
News du Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park.
really the only spot on the planet, or at least in Minnesota, the only spot, if you're thinking about playing blackjack, you're like, I want to feel the felt. And you want to play with dealers that are awesome people. You want to play in a lively environment where you actually feel welcomed.
Get your cards from dealers who don't hate their jobs.
And you're having sips at chips, and you're tipping Derek Allen quite well. Mm-hmm. And you're playing poker, weekend tournaments, all of that going on. You're seeing my buddy Ken at the 3-card poker table, and he's hit the ATM 5 times. Just pat him on the back and just tell him everything's going to be fine. Well, and maybe just call him an Uber. Actually,
a Ruber.
Depends on how much longer you can call Ubers. But in the same sense.
Then there's that.
Bingo on Tuesday nights. You got live racing. The place to feel the felt and feel welcome and have fun is at Canterbury Park in Shakopee, CanterburyPark.com.
Thank you for that. That was nice of you.
I want to start here via The Athletic because you're on to something, PA. The Wolves don't play tonight. They play tomorrow.
I am.
And actually, I got a bit. There's some sports gambling related bits, not only in the NBA, but there's a story taking over Major League Baseball right now with Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. I might have that for you now or maybe later in the show as well. Sure. As we freewheel through the tournament with Izzo's team kicking off March Madness here less than an hour from now. Mm-hmm. This courtesy of John Krasinski. You felt like you were on an island yesterday. And you put SOS in the sand. You figured out how to make fire, but it's going to be a while before anybody comes to help.
I'm in the middle of the sea, and while Jimmy K is howling, I'm going like, Wilson!
Well, in a 4-seat Cessna, Johnny K just flew over the island and he spotted you.
I have no idea what you're talking about, by the way.
With an article that states via the headline, Luka Garza's grit and sweat equity are defining the Timberwolves.
What? Hey, hold on.
He said. Yep. It's what he said. Defending champion Denver Nuggets in the house, fully healthy, fully rested. We know all the things about the second night of the back-to-back. Nobody's healthy.
William Kwenku once had a linebacker game for the Minnesota Vikings that triggered me to think the same thing.
William Kwenku. But he puts in second paragraph, Kyle Anderson starting at center with Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Naz Reid all sideline. Mm-hmm. Picks up 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game, PA.
Yeah.
And then you gotta jump over the ad here. And then it says, suddenly, it was Garza time.
Above average.
Garza time.
It was Garza time.
Oh. Garza time. Everybody now.
All jokes aside, Johnny K writes a nice article on him. Later on the article, let me see here. Garza's talking about Joker. He's the best big man in the world, a guy I love watching. We know in that game, Joker does go off, 35 points, 16 rebounds, light assist game. You mentioned for a guy that's the best passing big man in the league, you talked about it yesterday. A little bit of selfishness. At least he felt like he could get whatever he wanted against whether it was Slow-Mo or it was Garza. Yeah. And for the most part, he did last night. But here's what Finch had to say. Let me find it here. It was something about everybody wants to be...
Hold on one second. We got a marathon here.
Okay.
Better passing big man, and why? Joker or the other guy up Sacramento way? Hey.
Ooh, Domantas Sabonis.
Come on, he's the triple-double every game.
If we're talking LFL stat sheets... This is preposterous, but I'm kind of
It also
he doesn't hit threes. He's been
I'm saying passing big man.
Passing big man. It's still Joker, but Domantas is right there.
See, Domantas takes you Jokic takes you off the dribble, but he's so imposing and lumbering, it looks weird.
Yes, it does.
Domantas is thinner, smaller, more agile. He's swifter with the way he beats you off the dribble, you know?
He's smooth, and you know that's his bit, and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
But I still think, Joker MVP cred.
Yeah.
He's more...
I have...
he's got more tools in the bucket.
I have... how about this? Denver when it drafted Joker. All right, second round terrorism. He's puppy. You know, he needs to lose weight. They're not sure. He loves horses as much as he loves basketball. First interview, he's like, they're asking, like Finch or Connolly are asking, what's your ultimate goal here? Win games, go home. I mean, that's like what he was. So I was like, wow, Liam Neeson from The Taken. Holy cow, what are we going to do here? So what they did is they took, what's the cat's first name? Yusuf Nurkic.
Yeah, Yusuf Nurkic.
Yusuf Nurkic. Well, they had him, too, as a rookie. So they're like, I mean, they got like the entire Eastern Bloc to monopolize and manipulate the NBA with passing big men. But then Joker lost the weight, added a few more words to the sentences, and started passing in Vlade Divac-like fashion from free throw line extended, and then Nurkic was up in Portland. But, I mean, and Nurkic is a wonderful passing big man now with the Phoenix Suns.
As long as he can play more than 40 games a season.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we mentioned Sabonis. All right, common thread there. They're all Euros. So with the big men, I like what they're doing here. In Europe, they're raising the big men to pass.
Yes, they are.
Because, okay, you're going to go to the United States of America, and if you think that's a selfish country and the players want to, quote, get theirs, well, you're going to pass. And you're going to play for a long time, DeMontis, just like your father, Arvidas. A long time. A lot of horses for you, Nicola.
So with the pick of Joker. Now, you've been to Vegas many times. You know people that frequent Las Vegas. And you know if somebody hits one of those slot machines for like 50 large, then you get the comps, you get the free dinners, you get the limo service to and from formerly McCarran Airport, whatever it's named now.
You get like a Rain Man suite for those who remember that movie.
Is it similar where Connolly for the rest of his professional career? Now he's here, so we're hoping he continues to do great things for the Howl. Mm-hmm. Does he get to ride that second round selection for the rest of his professional career, similar to how somebody rides that one big win on the Strip?
I mean, you can put your thumb underneath your metaphorical armpits and flutter your symbolic fingers like, we got the money, we got the money. He can lay on that forever.
Yeah.
And Lord knows he needed it during that Gobert, Utah thing last year. I mean, like, I ain't going to approach him and say, dog, what are you doing? What are we, like, if I'm Laurie or Rodriguez or Taylor or whatever, dog, what are we doing here? I can't do that because the Jokic cred when he was fat and they believed in him and he was slow, it's immortality. Well, and Connolly wins it. Connolly wins. I mean, look at Gobert's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. They need him like they need to breathe right now.
Yeah.
And the picks, I mean, the Talons and the Ogajabis, so whoever
That'll be
his
getting. Fourth Defensive Player of the Year award.
I mean, how did Kessler go from being like Defensive Player of the Year candidate to terrible?
Yeah, he's really bad.
He's had injuries in there. He scores like 2 a game. Might get 6 rebounds. Oh, he got 11 rebounds, but no blocks. Oh, he blocked 6 with 1 rebound and 9 turnovers. He's crazy.
No, the trade has anybody that was loud, and I was negative on it last summer when it first happened. But
it's shocking
it was,
when you look at it in totality.
You're looking at the equity of it. You're looking at everything out the door.
Yeah. Well, then Gobert's punching slow-mo.
Correct. Yeah, Gobert's fighting. Cat's gone for 50 games. It was apocalyptically bad.
It was awful.
And now it's the complete opposite.
Yeah. But look at Conley in their resume.
But the Jazz have no guards though. That's the thing. I'm still holding out.
Sexton's all right.
I'm still but they play like 4 different guys. They got like the Talon Horton Tucker cat. Chris Dunn gets like 9 minutes a game, and then suddenly he'll start 5 in a row.
Right.
It's basically Lauri Markkanen, and then who else? Is Clarkson still there? I have no idea.
I might be wrong with this.
Jazz fan line.
And I'm not. I might be wrong with this, but I don't think I am. You mentioned Chris Dunn. I think, and it wasn't a Steph Curry, Flani Gin, where if you take me, I'm not coming, which you still got to take him and make him sit out and then make him sit out again. Okay. But out of Davidson, in fairness, you couldn't recognize Steph was going to be what Steph became. Baby Steph's unbelievable. He's immortality, but still we took Flani Gin with the nice smile from Syracuse and it was the fattest L ever. Or was it? I believe when the Wolves drafted Chris Dunn,
5th overall,
with the champs in town the other night, I think we took him over Jamal Murray.
So that would be an L for today.
Did we?
Well, let's look.
Come on.
2 picks later. Well, how about just the next pick?
Yeah.
He's had a more productive career, although he's had to bounce. Buddy Hield goes 6th.
Oh!
All that 3-point shooting off the bench that we've been begging for. Although we're getting, Monte Morris will give you a few. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been...
Johnny Athletic and I see this game clearly.
Garza.
We see this game clearly.
Who needs it?
It's the coaches like Mike and Nori and, kind of shunned my idea yesterday, and everybody shuns my idea of found gold with Luka Garza over 12 or 15 minutes hitting 3 3-pointers in playoff games. You see, Johnny Athletic and I see it clearly because the coaches have to focus on the now. We can cast our gaze the way of the overarching opinion, and that would be the postseason. And then Luka Garza being, look at me now, look at me now.
All right, let me ask you about this, though. So the 2016-2017...
So we did take Dunn over Murray?
We took Dunn over Murray, but I'm going to go farther down the line than that.
Wow, I love Jamal Murray, by the way.
Okay, we had Omri Caspi.
What? We had Omri Caspi?
I think he might be... Is he the only Jewish player in the NBA? I don't know. We got to get Howard on the line.
I have no idea.
We had Cole Aldrich, Nemanja Bjelica, Gorgie, Tyus, Zach Levine, Shabazz.
Svi Mahalik.
Oh, Svi Mahalik,
I think. now we're up here guessing Judaism and the NBA and how it meshes.
We had Ricky Rubio, Brandon Rush, Cat, Lance Stevenson blowing in people's ears. You know who was picked 11th in that draft? And I think he'd be a Tibbs guy.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis.
Oh, wow.
Domantas Sabonis.
Wow. Brilliant. 11th. I wonder what... and there are just so many strange things.
You were a big Thon Maker guy at the time.
Yeah, Thon Maker, don't leave home without him.
He went 10th.
130-pound frame.
Your guy Pirtle went 9th.
Yeah, Pirtle's good. But there are strange things that develop because of the, the salaries and everything like that, and personalities and meshing and superstar personalities. It's like Phoenix ain't going to win the NBA title, okay? Because, really? Booker, Beal, and Durant.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to get along the entire year when it comes to ball sharing.
Oh, by the way, and then some guy's going to freak out and throw a tantrum. His name's Grayson Allen.
Yeah, then Grayson's going to ball hog and hit 9 threes. And that's going to cause a problem with KD. Maybe or maybe not. But
Beal won't talk to him.
The Oklahoma City Thunder, all right, back in the day, and many know this, but if you don't, in the state of hockey, well, at one point they had as guards Russell Westbrook and James Harden lobbing to Kevin Durant. They're all on the same team, and they went to the NBA Finals and they got beat, and then it was over. It was
the
gone.
OKC days.
Yes, and we had take the talents to South Beach, which sucks, but Wade and LeBron and Chris Bosh.
Is that who beat them that year when they went to the finals?
I think Dallas beat them. I think
2011.
Yep, Cuban got a crown, and I definitely was against self-proclaimed. But now the LA Clippers are trying the same thing, and they were jacking around with Portland last night. Why am I watching Portland? Delano Blanton. It's a long story. We can talk about it later.
Oh, Chris Murray with a blow-up game last night.
Trying to pick him up. He's on waivers. You cut him at the wrong time. Picked up a guy who's out for the rest of the year. I'm trying to get Murray after he hits his third 3.
Sabotage drop.
Got this yellow bar. It's the postseason. I can't get him. So, but anyway, the Clippers, with if and or when they get it going, Harden, George, Kawhi, and Westbrook, no chance. If they can go ahead and with the analytics of basketball and Rick Kamla from Sirius NBA Radio. I'm not kidding you. He does the best basketball radio show you'll ever hear in your life with a former Memphis Grizzlies and I think Pelicans guard Antonio Daniels, who has big opinions. He's very good on the radio, Antonio. Cam's on earlier. He's Edina raised, and he's talking about the Wolves and fourth quarter deficiency and finishing and the analytics of the closing and stuff like that. The Clippers' analytics for closing at one point in the fourth quarter, when they couldn't lose, were elite. But now it's a ball sharing thing. It's a superstar ego thing. Yeah. When Kawhi needs to hold the ball every single possession. Kawhi is egoless. He doesn't talk. He doesn't show emotion. He just kills you. He just beats you. He just falls away in the corner with the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Final and daggers everything in the city of brotherly shove. But it's what I'm saying is when you put all those factors and stuff together like that, it doesn't always work. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't. And, if Sam Newton's listening, he knows that they can't win games without Norman Powell. I mean, that's really the key is what it comes down to, and Norman Powell has missed the last two.
Yeah.
Doogie, Sam Newton, many others in the fantasy world reeling because of that. Let me wrap up.
They're in League Freak, a 26-year fantasy basketball league, and the toughest basketball league to win in the history of fantasy basketball. I've been in it 23 years, brought the Con in a half decade ago. The Con and Feng Shui, my team, are a couple of rank outsiders known as underdogs coming from the depths of 8 teams making the postseason. I'm the 8, tied with the 1, trying to bounce the 1. The Con is 2 seeds ahead of me, battling. It's the Lions, Doogie and his team, and Doogie's smart and good, and he's a past champion. And that has pretty much enveloped our lives right now. I mean, I'm watching Delano Blanton last night, getting pissed off at ESPN.com, which does the scoring for League Freak, that they had Delano Blanton with 2 blocks at one time, and I got excited, and then the block was taken away during the course of the game, and I thought it was chicanery. Same thing happened to Josh Giddey last night. I don't want to care about Josh Giddey's stat lines. You don't want to care about whether Pirtle is returning from the finger or the hand and or when and why.
Right.
We just want to get on and eliminate these top seeds and show the fantasy basketball world that winning from the bottom is how all of the best companies and teams win. That is us. The hierarchy is of them. We win from the bottom.
Here's my question. More shocking. The Miami Heat, the 8th seed last year, upsetting the top-seeded Bucks in 5 games?
Yeah.
Or Funk beating top-seeded Sex Panther in the LFL playoffs?
Well, I will let you determine the answer to that. In the 26-year history of League Freak's life, there not one time has been an 8 to usurp a 1.
Oh, well, then that's the answer. It's Funk.
Well, because of that crap rule where if it's 4-4, the top seed moves up. So Funk and Con have to win 5-3.
We have to analyze maybe a rule change into 2024.
And we have to overcome metaphorical moguls and obstacles most don't.
Chad Abbott has just entered the producer's studio, excited for all of this fantasy basketball conversation that's been taking place. Let me end on this.
Well, yes, but in the 26-year history of this ballyhooed, well-respected league,
Abbott was wondering,
there's never been, I don't care about that. There never has been an 8 to usurp a 1. So what would be more of an upset? You asked the question.
Oh, Funk over Sex Panther.
Funk over Sex Panther.
And it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And what do you like doing more, playing Sex Panther or saying Sex Panther?
Saying it because his team kicks ass. And if
Not
you
even
advance
close.
and if I beat Doogie, that means you got to deal with Coach Shu. And I'm out on that.
And speaking of coaches, John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, calls a 9 to noon from the West Coast around the corner on FM 100.3 KFAN. John Hynes' inclusion 9 to noon is courtesy of Pronto Heating and Air. Welcome back to your home for Minnesota Wild hockey, KFAN, and I'm Paul Allen. Here comes the head coach of the Minnesota Wild, John Hynes. John, coach, sorry about the loss last night. It's not like you haven't experienced things like that, or the other side of it, the exaltation with victories, but no time for rest, man, or no time for the weary. St. Louis is here Saturday, and that's just another big one. Good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Good to talk to you again. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't the type of performance that gave us a chance to win the game last night. I think there's numerous reasons for that that we'll adjust with our guys tomorrow and make sure we're ready, to be better in certain areas and certain situations, in particular against St. Louis.
When it not necessarily with the puck luck or that's hockey or the quirky nature of last night's game, like the puck off Faber's skate and just stuff, so many quirky things, whatever. You've seen that stuff a million times, and I'm sure it's gone your way a fair amount. But moving forward with a game like that, is it a throw the tape away, move on to St. Louis, and make sure the guys are all mentally set off the type of loss that took place last night?
Yeah, Paul, I think every situation is different. Sometimes if you have a loss like that, we're traveling back today, so, as coaches, you always go through some film. I have some feelings coaching the game and sleeping on it again last night. I think that there could be some certain situations in the game that we have to handle better when the game was in the balance, whether that was particularly penalties or turnovers or how to play certain situations. That I don't think it's the whole game. Once it gets out of reach, yeah, I think at times you can burn the tape. But I think some of the things that led to that point could be some learning lessons and make sure that we take those from that game and make sure that we're better in the situations against St. Louis.
Absolutely. I love how you laid that out. The metaphor or the cliche, throw away the tape, obviously it doesn't exactly mean never take a peek back at it, but especially with your current situation with Eriksson Ek and Brodin down. And, now we chat weekly, but now we go week after week after week where, you're having some guys play in some spots where they're playing twice the amount of time maybe anybody ever thought they would play, doing the best they can and coming through a fair amount, I would imagine. But as the season goes on, that just becomes a little more tenuous, doesn't it?
I think at times we've done a very good job of overcoming some of the injuries, and at other times we haven't. And I think there's been different reasons for it. But I will tell you this: we do have capable guys, and it's unfortunate we have a couple guys out of our lineup. But I do think when you can play strong collective team hockey, and you need certain players that are in your lineup to step up a little bit. I think that's the recipe to give us a chance to win on Saturday, and we didn't have enough of that last time.
John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Pronto Heating and Air. And just overall, what when we're not looking for a loser's lament here or anything, but what's it like manipulating lineups with like Eriksson Ek and Brodin and something new popping up all the time? What, just as a coach, what is it like handling that part of your job?
It's kind of what you do as coaches, right? You're always trying to find. There's always different things that present themselves every day. Sometimes it's injuries, sometimes it's lineups, sometimes it's a good game, a bad game, individual players, whatever it may be. Particularly with Echo, it was a little bit more cumbersome only because Ek, Boldy, and Kirill had been such a dominant line.
Yeah.
And now when you take Ek out of that, it's lost a little bit of its mojo. So you're kind of bouncing Hartman there, Rossi there, trying to see if something fits in that sense.
It's Ek and or Brodin, Eriksson Ek. Do you expect a return on the horizon, or what's the deal there?
Yes. As far as I know, that none of them are so season-ending games like that. I mean, we're anticipating these guys being back as quickly as possible.
Good.
The timeline on it's always murky until I get home and talk to everyone and the players. But yes, we do expect them back hopefully in short order.
What as a head coach, John Hynes, 9 to noon. What between games? All right, it sounds to me like right now. You're at Venice Beach on either an electric bicycle or maybe a surfboard in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So
I wish
you do get some relaxation time too. But as you tinker with this and you get the younger players and go over the teaching points or whatever up to the next game. Like what are some things you do between games to get ready for the next game?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'm actually outside the hotel where we have a flight back to Minnesota today. So I'm out by the bus because we leave at 9:00 here. But at any rate, we'll review the game film on the plane as far as last night's game with the coaches, and then one of our guys will be prepping the St. Louis game, and then we'll come in tomorrow with the team and figure out exactly. There's certainly probably be some individual meetings on Friday with some guys, and then some team stuff. Figure out practice, and then usually by Friday night you basically have put last night's game to bed. Teaching lessons have gone on, dealt with the team, have moved on tactically through St. Louis.
How closely do you follow the NCAA hockey tournament? Like, they're going to draw up the Frozen Four tournament this weekend. The Boston teams, BC and BU, they're 1-2 right now. But do you get time to watch that once they start playing in a week?
I will try to watch it. Yes, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of college hockey through our season, but I think for sure the conference tournament, and then obviously the NCAA tournament is always fun to watch.
Lastly here, because you're going to take off on that bus in 5.5 minutes, so thanks for the time too, man. I really appreciate it, and so does Pronto Heating and Air. As a coach, whether it's the 6-0-2 because you guys with the injuries and just everything that's gone into it, we have a rise and then we have a fall and then a rise and then a fall and there will be a rise again. You were 6-0-2 into that Kings game. When you're on the grind the way you are, or the way the staff or the players are, but speaking for yourself, do the wins feel as good as the losses feel bad?
I think at this time of year, yes. Yeah, I think you always try to do a good job of not trying not to get too high or too low, because as you said, when you're on the grind, like, there's another one coming. And I think when you win I guess I would say this to you. Both of them feel, when you win, it feels great right after the game. When you lose, it feels really bad. I think at times the challenge is you can't let the losses sit with you longer. And sometimes that's what happens. You win, you feel good, you move on. You lose, you don't feel good. You're trying to figure out why. You're trying to push the right buttons here. And I think that's the important thing this time of year for players or coaches is, you can't get too high, and then you can't get too low. But sometimes the losses can sit with you too long and linger, and you can't let that happen.
Excellent answer, man. It's so fascinating handling things like that from just a human emotion standpoint. All right, I'm assuming you're staying out there, I don't know, like El Segundo, Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Beverly Hills way, which means I hope you're going to be able to watch back that entire Kings game on your drive down Robertson to the airport in Westchester, because it just takes that long with LA traffic. So have a wonderful journey, and God bless you, man, and we'll talk next week. Good luck this weekend.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, see you, buddy. John Hynes, coach of the Minnesota Wild. 6-0-2 into that Kings game last night. I watched a little of it. I saw a puck go off Brock Faber's skate, and it led to an L, and Foligno hitting a puck into the boards because he's mad, and I'd be mad too if I were Marcus Foligno. He's the Moose. The Moose was on fire. Fleury leaving the game and breaking his. The frustration boiled over last night. And I sense, the calm of John Hynes and chatting with him, framing up some of the questions the way I did, is I can sense he knows that last night was different. There are losses, and it's not the first time anybody's going to lose whatever and have puck luck not go their way. That's why it was important to me to lay it out to John that the puck luck, and that's hockey. It completely went against the Wild last night 4 times. And it was just blatant. It's just how it works. It was the will of the game. But I'm sure John has had that go his way too, and he knows that. So I just really appreciated and enjoyed his answers about watching back games like that, and the teaching points for whether you're Kaprizov winning a puck battle in a corner or you're Lucchini getting pushed out of the mouth of the goal. And those are just examples. Those are just metaphors. They didn't actually happen. But his answers were very thoughtful, and they are very much on the grind right now to make the postseason. I think they have 12 to go, might need to win them all. We head into the final hour with football conversation, and a reporter from a sister station who's super plugged into the NFL joins us next.